Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today on this video, I want to show you a piece of terminal tackle that I think is very underrated and kind of misunderstood. And one thing that as a beginner, people really tend to lean on is a snap swivel. Now, when I was little, I started out fishing with a lot of different baits, and I snapped them on with a snap swivel. Okay, you got a swivel that has a snap on it. It's super easy. You can change out your bait, and you don't get as many twists. But as you get more advanced in the sport of bass fishing, you start to realize that a snap swivel is actually not something you really want to use for a lure connection in most situations, because a snap swivel, having those two different components together, the swivel and the snap, adds too much weight, too much bulk. It just doesn't look natural, and it usually will dampen the action of a bait. There's just too much going on over there. So don't use snap swivels for most fishing situations using artificial lures. That's my little piece of advice for snap swivels. However, the good old solitary snap is a great tool in bass fishing for artificial presentations. Okay, it's something that I don't see a ton of people using snaps. There's some baits that have snaps on them, right out of the package, like the wigglewort, or something like the Lure Jensen hot lips, or something like, not hot lips, but the speed traps. The things like that already have a snap on them, because the manufacturer knows that they work very well with those baits. And the great thing about a snap is that it really doesn't have a ton of material. It's pretty much bare bones material. It's just a little bit of wire, and it allows you to, change baits very easily. But another thing that a snap does is that it actually will enhance the action of a lot of baits, and at the very least, it won't hinder the action of those baits. So things like lipless crankbaits, shallow diving crankbaits, deep diving crankbaits, all crankbaits, and jerk baits, those are the type of baits that I really like to use with snaps for multiple reasons. Number one, very easy to swap out to different baits. So like if I'm practice fishing on a new lake, I'm trying to figure out what color and what type of jerk bait the fish are reacting to, I'll use a snap, because it's not going to really affect the action that much, but it's going to allow me to really switch between baits with very little effort or time spent, retying. But the snap, you generally isn't going to hinder the action. It's actually going to enhance the action, because you get that kind of like loop knot type situation where you don't have that real tight connection with a single knot. You've got this nice open freedom of movement that the snap offers, and that's the reason why I like to use these VMC crankbait snaps. They're more of that egg shape, which I think gives the bait more freedom of movement. And I usually use this one right here as an exceptionally large snap. Usually for bass fishing, I'm going to be using like the double aught, okay, for finesse, and the single aught, like this one right here. That's going to be most of my crankbaits, is the single aught that I throw. And I mean, look at that, 50 pounds breaking strength, pound test rating of 50 pounds. And for the small one, the double aught is 30 pounds. So generally, if that snap is closed, you're not going to be breaking that thing off and having issues with that. Another type of bait that recently, and this is kind of the juice, I'm giving you the juice here. One of the type of baits that I really like to throw with a snap is the jig head minnow setup. So like fishing any jig head minnow, you want that nice roll to it as you work it. The snap, because I heard a bunch of people talking about using loop knots, to give that bait that freedom of movement. So I'm like, well, why can't I use like one of these small like double aught you know, VMC snaps. I don't have an association with VMC. This is just the one that I like to use, and the link is in the description for this. But why not use these? So I tested it out. I've been testing it, and it actually works really, really good. In fact, I've had some days where I've caught way more than people fishing around me, and I contribute a lot of that to that snap. So don't be afraid to use a real small snap with some of these jig head minnow presentations if you like fishing already with like a loop knot or something like that. So, but anyways, guys, I really do love snaps. I think it makes you more efficient. Some baits actually run better with snaps. And yeah, overall, I think that efficiency is a great thing, and as long as it's not taken away from the action, that's also really good. The one thing you got to be careful of, and you have to be careful with this, regardless of if you're changing out treble hooks or if you're using snaps or whatever, is when you're fishing with something like a suspending jerk bait, those baits are so fine-tuned by the manufacturer that sometimes even the slightest addition of weight is going to make those things sink way faster than you need them to, or you know, just overall, you know, change the action a little bit. I generally don't think that it actually changes the action. It impedes the action, but it will change the buoyancy a little bit sometimes. So you got to be careful. So once you know, try it with a snap, just put the bait in the water, see if it falls. If it falls too fast, it's probably not something you want to do. Something like a Mega Bass 110, or even like a Berkeley Stunna. Those are baits that maybe you just want to tie directly to, maybe use a loop knot or something like that. But I have used the snaps with those too. So just test it out in the water, make sure it didn't add too much weight. But overall, snaps are something that not a lot of people use, but not for a lot of great reasons. They are pretty awesome for connecting many artificial hard baits and even those jig head minnow setups to your line. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below of this topic of using snaps. Do you use them? Do you hate them? I want to know in the comment section below. Also check out the link to the VMC crankbait snap in the Tackle Warehouse link in the description below. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. I'm going to see you out on the water. Trust the process.